There could be new hope for the families of thousands of epileptic children who suffer from horrible seizures, and it comes in the form of something I don't think you'd ever guess about. Take a look.
It's okay, honey. Mommy's here.
Charlotte Figi was a little girl with an extreme form of epilepsy with really bad seizures. At her worst, she probably had 2 seizures an hour. So bad, sometimes her heart stopped. But then her mother discovered hemp oil extract from the cannabis plant seemed to stop the seizures without the intoxicating effect of marijuana. She named her discovery Charlotte's Web after her daughter. Now, scientific clinical studies will soon begin to find out why this oil seems to be helping Charlotte and many other children. Please welcome Mom Paige Figi and Joel Stanley, who grows the plant and sells the extract in Colorado, where medical marijuana is legal. Yeah, you can clap. And I want to start this by saying nobody anywhere has ever advocated for children smoking marijuana. You must understand this. This is not what this is about. This is not about being high. This is about saving lives and making children more comfortable. So just understand that's not what we're talking about, because I know people will send in emails and say, you're talking. That's not what's happening. Okay? Okay.
Yes, this isn't something that is actually smoked by kids. This is not a story about kids smoking marijuana. This is a hemp extract that is made in a lab. Good manufacturing practices followed, and it's given in measured doses.
And you, hemp is not legal, I'm told, in the U.S. Is that true?
It's a very gray area. In fact, the U.S. imports more industrial hemp than any country in the world, yet the products made for human consumption rest in a very gray area.
Right.
You know, you did, I think, what I'm a 2.5-year-old, and I can't imagine what it would be like to watch your baby seize. And I think you did what any mother would do. You went and got something to cure your daughter. But it almost didn't happen. I mean, they were ready to give up on her. Tell me, how did you arrive at this point? Because I think any mother would want to learn how you found something to help your daughter.
They did give up on her. She was 5 years old, and she was do not resuscitate, wheelchair, end-of-life, hospice, feeding tube, oxygen, seizing every 30 minutes. So you're seeing a seizure. If you've ever seen an epileptic seizure, it can be life-threatening. We had nothing left to try pharmaceutically. And so I met Joel. We started the oil, and the research is out there. I did my research. This is an
Can you talk? People don't understand that. That this is their trials. Are there going to be more?
We are doing more trials, but the research is there it's decades old. It's a Schedule I substance. So it's very difficult to do the research. It'll stay a Schedule I because we can't do the research. But it's out there. I found out what I needed. He had bred the plant to be very high in cannabidiol, very low in THC. We turned it into an oil.
That too. I'm sorry. Yeah, so the healing property was in there without anything
that makes you high.
Yes,
It's not a high.
This is non-psychoactive. These kids are not getting high. People really
getting high.
Getting well.
Well, they're high on life because they're not seizing up every 7 minutes. They can actually go be kids. And why would anybody? I mean,
I know. But let me also ask you, because we talked about this before. How many, if my kid, heaven forbid, had seizures, and I knew that this was something that would help him, I would go anywhere. How many laws would I be breaking if I flew from New York to you and took that drug home to my baby?
You would be breaking at least a couple of laws. First, federal law, and then
because I'd be crossing state lines.
And then potentially state law. So it's very important that we all change these outdated laws. This is absolutely huge. These hemp products that we import, millions of dollars worth every year, are technically not legal. So these laws are very outdated, but there's an answer for it.
And part of it has to be, I would guess, changing the minds of the American Academy of Pediatrics, who so far are not recommending this, right? How do you deal with, because I think a lot of parents, they go to their pediatrician. So how do you bring along, we've talked about the need to change the laws, but how do you also bring along the old institutions, the doctors?
I think that the medical community wants to see more research. So do we. That's why we've teamed with doctors, researchers. That's why we're running clinical trials to understand why this is working. But research takes time, and for the thousands of patients on our waiting list for Charlotte's Web, they don't have time.
And we have one here, right?
You're talking about thousands of people whose children need this medicine, okay? The children need this medicine. Parents can gauge better what's going on with their kids and tell you. And I think as a physician, you're obligated to see if it works. If they are telling you that this is something they feel will work for their child, you're obligated. You're obligated, I feel, as a physician, to take care of business. And you were about to say, and
well, and we have, we have someone here. You're in this position, right? That you have a son you've described him as very medically frail, and you think this might help.
Yeah, I have a son, Oliver, who's 14 years old. Oliver has hundreds of seizures every day. We are losing him. He can't even sit up the way he was sitting up like that by himself. He gets slammed down by seizures constantly. He has regressed. He has lost skills. He's become even more medically frail. There is a medicine that's available that's helping hundreds of children, and we have not even been allowed to try it because of the state we live in. All people in this country, we're in the United States of America, all people in this country should have access to the same medical treatments, regardless of what state you live in. The government has the authority to make this happen. Any governor of any state, Governor Cuomo in New York State, has the authority to give emergency access to this medicine now.
We're gonna fix it.
Even in New York,
believe me, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it, baby. We're gonna fix it because no mother should be in this position. No. Ever. So, thank you guys. I want to thank Joel, Stanley, and Paige, Figi, and Missy Miller. And we want to make it clear that legally The View cannot endorse this kind of therapy. Medical marijuana is still not legal in most states. But, as Whoopi Goldberg, I'm telling you, this is no joke. It's important. And there, but for the grace of God, go we all. So let's get this going in case somebody in our family finds that they need it. We'll be right back.